The board says succession planning is their top priority. Then they wrote a $12.5 million check that proves it isn't. Amgen, $37 billion in annual revenue, just paid $12.5 million in cash and retention bonuses to bring back a chief financial officer who already left. The same person who walked out the door, back at a premium. And I keep thinking about my episode on layoffs costing $200 million in trust. Same pattern. A short-term decision that looks smart on paper, with a long-term cost nobody's measuring. Chief Financial Officer Dive ran this as a positive story, a boomerang hire. Institutional knowledge preserved, continuity. But follow the incentives, and it tells you something much more uncomfortable. You don't pay $12.5 million for continuity. You pay it because the alternative was more expensive. The boomerang wasn't the first choice. It was the least bad option, after the first choice didn't exist. $12.5 million. Let me sit with that number for a second. That's what a board pays to admit, in a dollar amount visible to anyone who reads the filing, that their internal pipeline produced nobody ready for the role. Not one person. In a company with one of the deepest finance organizations in pharma, Peter Oppenheimer stepped down as Apple's chief financial officer in 2014. Tim Cook had Luca Maestri ready the same week. No premium, no gap. No leadership transition on earnings calls. That's what real succession looks like. It looks like nothing happened. Amgen's version cost $12.5 million. Publicly. The interim period. Strategic decisions deferred. The talent 2 levels below who looked at that empty seat and thought, if they won't promote internally for the top finance role, why am I still building my career here? That talent exodus is the number nobody discloses. And I'll tell you something from watching a dozen pharma transitions over the last 3 years. The people who leave during a chief financial officer vacancy aren't the ones you can replace easily. They're the ones who had a path, who saw the ceiling form above them in real time. And it compounds quarterly, which means the $12.5 million on the filing is maybe 20% of what this actually cost. Here's the fair counter-argument. Sometimes the right answer genuinely is the returning executive. Maybe Amgen ran a rigorous search. Maybe this person was objectively the strongest option in global pharma finance. But $12.5 million in premium compensation doesn't support we chose the best. It supports we needed them more than they needed us. That power asymmetry is the governance gap, made visible in dollars. If you're sitting on a board right now, can you name your successor today? Not strong bench strength, that's a press release. The specific person, their specific gaps, the timeline. If you can't answer in one sentence, you're one departure away from writing your own check. I'm watching 3 more pharma companies with chief financial officer transitions in the pipeline. If the premiums keep climbing, and they will because the talent pool at that level is shrinking, within 12 months, at least one board will publicly disclose succession readiness as a governance metric, because the premium makes the gap too expensive to hide. Every governance gap has a price. Amgen just told you theirs, down to the dollar. That's the margin. We follow the money to where the decisions are made.